Hello, I'm Damelys, and today I'm going to talk about creating a methodology. This is basically a case of study in which the president of the company like express how he feels about a request that he made because they were no longer competitive. So in order to improve their performance and really be competitive again, he asks his team to develop a new strategy that it was like through an EPM system. So there are some definitions that managers should be aware of, like according to John Coleman, corporate culture is about the beliefs and behaviors that basically will determine how good employees and management interact between them and how they can handle the outside business transactions. Also, there are some basic elements that are really relevant to succeed in terms of organizational culture, such as an effective and efficient communication, commitment, cooperation, control, shared perception, and a good decision making process. Also, according to Hersner, EPM system means enterprise project management methodology, and according to Hornby, this methodology does not have a consistent definition yet. However, it helps to build like a more consistent project management, and also by having an experienced manager, companies will reduce the impact in terms of a lack of skills, will improve their productivity, and they will reduce project risks, and also it will increase reliability of delivery. Now, there are some questions that will be answered in this video about this case of study. The first question is, what can you determine about the corporate culture from the fact that they waited this long to consider the development of an EPM system? Well, the first thing to say is that the company has been like a vertical organization so far, and there are some units that have been managed by managers who would like to continue to maintain their reporting structure and their power. And this is not bad, but the thing is that according to Hersner, it seems that the problem does not rely in the first place on the introduction of a basically like a kind of management, but in the total absence or probably the misinterpretation of the corporate culture concept, which should put at first the interest of the company rather than the individual's interests. Um, the thing is that for the company to continue to be profitable in competitive environment, they need to adapt and change and accept the importance of project management and reorganize like their structure in order to adapt and or to accommodate the EPM system. The another thing is that the executive staffs put off the development of an EPM system since they fear losing their power and authority once the EPS system was implemented. Also, they considered more about their personal benefits instead of the overall company's and team's advancement. Um, the second question is, can a PMO accelerate the implementation process? Well, the answer is yes. A PMO will accelerate the development and implementation of an EPM system. And the thing is that the PMO, which is comprised of a handful of experienced project managers, and those are expected to take the lead in the development of a methodology. The PMO establishes the guidelines and a broad structure for all project managers and also for the teams. The PMO will establish like templates, forms, and processes in order to provide like a framework for all project managers to execute the projects. An important like element in this is uniformity in the process of execution, because this will help to accelerate the implementation process. Now, the third question is: it is acceptable for the PMO to report to the Chief Information Officer or to someone else? And the answer is yes, and absolutely yes. Because, as I said, the PMO is comprised of experienced project managers, and this will help the company to really achieve all the goals in all departments. Also, for the flow of the projects to function, it is important that PMO is managed by the C-level management, who are able to remove all the hindrances and make like really executive decisions for the project management teams. According to Hersner, it should be considered to the enhancement of the coordination between the decision makers or developers and those who provide the resources to really undertake the project. In this way, every issue will be solved promptly without incurring in time waste. Now, the fourth question is: why is the best to have six or less life cycle phases in an EPM system? Well, the thing is that good project management or even enterprise project management doesn't usually have more than six gates, because by having too many gates, this will force all the team to focus on preparing for the gate reviews rather than on the actual management of the project. And it would prove to be like a waste of time. And that is basically the reason why the most efficient and effective project management and enterprise project management does not have more than six life cycle phases. The fifth question is: it is best to design an EPM system around flexible or inflexible elements? Well, the thing is, it is best to design an EPM system around flexible elements that are based on guidelines and recommendations. Also, it is best to use checklists and periodic review points, because when EPM was first implemented, most companies prefer to use a formal design with like a lot of paperwork. And these days, companies are managing projects more informally than before. Also, despite the fact that project management is informal, it doesn't have it does have like some degree of formality, and typically some projects are managed with a minimum amount of paperwork. And as companies become reasonable mature in project management, and the policies and procedures of formal project management has been replaced by, as I said, templates, guidelines, checklists. And it's important to say that informal project management is based on those guidelines rather than policies and procedures. And it has been like characteristic of a good project management methodology. So it's not bad to doesn't have like a minimum amount of paperwork. Actually, is good because people will be more focused on really achieve their goals rather than be thinking about all the paperwork that they have to follow and all the stuff. And the final question is, should an EPM system have the capability of capturing best practices? Is an absolutely yes, because an EPM system should really have the capability of capturing best practices. Basically, because in today's world, project management is one of the key activities of our businesses. In fact, we are managing our businesses by projects. So project managers are making project decisions as well as business decisions. So it's basically this gets placed in a project management best practices library and works towards building like a knowledge repository that includes both business related best practices and also project management together. Well, in other words, according to John Coleman, companies should remember that each culture is unique and that there are some like common components of great cultures, and those elements or components are vision, because it means that companies have clear values providing purpose, then values, because which values which will guide the company to achieve its vision, and people, because without them it's almost impossible to really achieve the company's goals, and finally the environment, because without a good environment it's almost impossible to be successful in any business. So that's it for today. Thank you.